Hello, hello, and welcome. Or should I say, ho, 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 Christmas cousins. I'm Cousin Chad. And normally Cousin Seth would say, and I'm Cousin Seth, but he's not here just yet because, as you know, those of you who listen to this show, he's the eccentric genius. We put up with whatever he does, whether he shows up on time or doesn't. It all works for me. But we don't even need Seth right now because we are joined with a luminary of the Christmas podcast space. I'm a huge fan myself. I have Scott from the Christmas Morning Podcast and Tinsel Tunes Podcast. Scott, welcome back to the show. That's the crowd loves you. You're welcome.
Hold on, I'm Googling what luminary means.
It's a picture of yourself. If you look it up, it's just you in the dictionary. So for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure there's a lot of crossover, so you may know, Scott hosts with Brand from Deck the Hallmark Christmas Morning Podcast, which is a weekly show, well, weekly all year, and they do go daily soon, I believe November 1st, although I'm pushing the movement to do it October 1st. Is there an announcement you have,
No,
Scott?
sir. No, sir. There will be no such announcement.
Oh, okay. I was hoping I had breaking news live. I've been pushing for it too.
No, but we are going to do a couple Halloween evening episodes in October.
Yes.
We're not sure how many because all of a sudden it's October and we have nothing planned, but something. So something will happen.
It's one of those things. I heard you guys kind of workshopping it on air and you were like, we will, we'll figure it out. And all of a sudden it's October and that's how those things go. They seem like they're so far in the future, then it shows up.
And nothing happens without a deadline, right?
Exactly. You're right. Speaking of deadlines, look at this guy. Cousin Seth comes, a man who knows no bounds. Scott, Seth, we are live on air. We did the intro without you. So basically, Scott was auditioning for your seat. He's booked. Seth, I'm going to remove you now. And that means, Scott, you get the 7-figure contract and everything that Seth has. So,
oh, that's fantastic. Good to see you, Seth.
Well, you too. It's wow, you wrapped all that up in 2 minutes. That's
yes. we replaced you quickly. I didn't tell Scott the 7 figures. Most of them are on the wrong side of the decimal point, but they are figures. Yeah, it's like pi. Yeah, it's a lot of
Do you take an out-of-state post-dated 4-party bad check? Yeah, sure. You just
exactly. So why are we here today? So for those of you who are new to our podcast, I am Cousin Chad. I am a holiday and seasonal Christmas enthusiast. I love everything about the holidays. And I was talking to my dear cousin Seth, and he wasn't doing anything. And I said, Seth, let me take you through this journey. Follow it with me. Let me introduce you to all these great things I do. And on top of it, let's record it. We have so much fun, whether we have no listeners, we're going to have a great time, or whether we have, like we have right now, our 23 million daily listeners. Scott, I don't know if you've known that number. That's just our daily average. So, of course, it's up higher
that's
and lower.
Fantastic. You're right up there with Joe Rogan, but
that's right, yes.
More sane. That's great.
That's right. Not as buff, but just as many listeners.
Yeah.
Although, Seth...
Well, tied together, I think we equal the mass of one Joe Rogan.
That's right.
You're right. And exceed the brain power, perhaps. I know, at least with you, Seth, the eccentric genius. So, but Scott is here, and I introduced Scott already. So why are we here? Now, we were talking, and Seth has a big history, a proclivity for punk rock songs. He loved them growing up. He would come visit us for the summers. He'd be like, hey, Chad, you've got to check out this Dead Kennedys album, or Misfits, or whoever it was, right? So Social D.
Yeah.
So
right. Many of them.
we'd always leave with great, because we lived down at the beach. We were like, hey, Seth, check out our Bob Marley. And then he'd be like, no, bad brains, Chad, come here. So, and then I knew you are a Christmas music enthusiast. I can't say aficionado because Joe, the Christmas aficionado, will send us a cease and desist letter. So you though, and I know you like ska. I didn't know how you felt about punk or not. So we invited you to join us on again. Scott, what's your relationship with punk music in general?
I think I'm more into pop punk. We're all about the same age. I was into Green Day when it came out. That was my gateway. I love ska punk, that weird crossover between the two. Seth probably has more pedigree when it comes to this kind of stuff. I'm aware of the Misfits and the Vandals and Dead Kennedys and bands like that. That's not really my thing. I can't claim to have, and you know how it is, Seth, the people who like those, probably like you, if it's like a badge of honor that you guys really like this stuff. I'm on the periphery, sure. If we were on a car trip, leave it on, play it. That sounds great. But you're going to hear more poppy punk kind of stuff from me. That's what I really enjoy.
Okay. Yeah. If I heard there was a Circle Jerks reunion, the band. There you go.
Wow, I wasn't sure what show I was on for a second. Gotta go.
Christmas Cousins After Dark.
The Clash.
Right. Great example. Out of all the bands, you could have said Dead Milkmen.
Okay, right. Dead Milkmen. Right. That's the first one that popped into my head.
Is punk ska? I do have a question for you guys. Fishbone, is that considered like punk ska? I love that band.
I would have to guess. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think I would consider them one of those. I say one of the first bands that was doing it, the crossover. You know, maybe a little more power chords mixed in with that ska beat. They're great.
And they are great. You know, the relationship between punk and pop punk, I don't know, that's kind of a gray area, but I like the stuff that's a little more upbeat, a little more smiley, for lack of a better word, and probably a little less gritty. Maybe it's better produced. You know, it's a little more slick and radio friendly. That's what I like.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a product of like dirty clubs, you know, seeing bands and, you know, packing the place is overpacked and, you know, just
Scott, one summer
something on the floor. Sorry.
Yes. Well, we were all very like clean cut, and Seth shows up at our grandparents' Jersey Shore house. And mind you, it's middle of the summer at the beach. And he shows up rocking red and black hair, like over to the side, long shorts with chains and Doc Martens. And we were like, whoa, who's this guy? It was really hardcore. It was very cool.
Searching for an identity.
Exactly. Every summer was different.
You know, one of my stories is when I was in high school, so that was 90 through 94, my best friend's older brother was at Penn State. And you know how it is with your friends' older brothers. You think they're the coolest in the world. And he came back for some vacation and he brought a Green Day album and he said, you have to check this out. This was 1992, probably. So this is well before Dookie came out, you know, their super breakthrough one.
Oh, wow.
I honestly don't remember the name of the album off the top of my head. Somebody's screaming at their podcast app right now saying, you moron, it's such and such. But we were in love. We said, this is the greatest. And then I don't remember when Dookie came out. Was it 95, 96, something like that? I was like, oh my God, I know these guys.
Right.
So, you know, that was that amazing, you know, serendipity of the moment. It just happened and it was fantastic.
Absolutely.
So you knew them before, right? That's very cool. So before, and then all of a sudden they blew up. I mean, they're still huge.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
And they've gone through a bit of a change and an identity change over the years. Like, you know, early on, they were kind of on the grittier side. I say they're much more polished now, but aren't we all in our old age?
Right.
Yeah. They're now more elder statesmen. I mean, now they're making political statements and they're, you know, they're businessmen too, which is fascinating. So
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That seems to be punk. Yeah. Go on, Seth.
Yeah, no. And I got turned on to a lot of these bands through skateboard videos. They were playing them. I was watching them obsessively, and it was just, you know, that was a soundtrack of it. It was, you know, Descendants and I say Rancid, but Operation Ivy, and then a lot of those bands. And then the snowboard videos were doing a lot of those, but they were introducing a lot of stuff like Zeppelin and so classic rock. And I was like, oh, I was hearing a lot of that.
Were you a video game fan, Seth, back in the day?
Yeah. I would say I have had
there was a game called Crazy Taxi for the Dreamcast, and it had Offspring.
Yes.
It had Social Distortion on it. It was just it was probably very similar to what you're talking about with snowboard and skateboard videos. That was one of my not quite an introduction, but it really cemented it. It was like, oh, I love this. I love listening to this stuff, especially while I'm doing other things like wasting time picking up fares in Crazy Taxi. But that's neither here nor there.
It's very fast-paced driving music and anthemic. I don't even know the word.
I would say so.
And it still holds up. I was driving the other day. My daughter's a freshman in high school, and she put on the Offspring while we were driving. And I was like, wow. So she's way into that 90s kind of music too. And she asked cousin Seth for advice too. And he'll be like, check out Rancid, check out Operation Ivy. And the next thing I know, she's buying CDs and a CD player. and she's listening in her room. It's like the 90s Redux.
Oh, I got a box of CDs I could sell her. I was holding up the short leg of the couch or something. But it's funny, Seth, how I want to listen to something, and then I'm just far too lazy to go find the CD. And now with streaming, it's super easy. But even before streaming was ubiquitous, I'd be like, well, I guess I'll just pay a couple bucks. I know I have the CD, but I don't have time for that. I want to listen to it now. So I don't know why I'm holding on to this crate of CDs. Like I'm going to do something with it. I'm not going to do anything with it. It's going to be my kid's problem someday.
Right when the libraries stop taking them as donations, that and VHS tapes.
Yeah,
we're all screwed.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right. Although there's stores now that sell them. But so this is what we're going to do. We're going to go over. Scott brought some great songs. Because we said, Seth and I were talking, you love punk rock. Are there punk rock Christmas songs? And we didn't know. Scott, we thought of you immediately. So you both actually emailed me this week and said, oh, I have to say, this is how it happens. I'll pull back the curtain when you work with Cousin Seth. Now, Scott, you sent me 5 succinct songs, edited in MP3s, ready to be downloaded and played on the show. Mm-hmm. Seth, who's used to a massive staff of servants handling everything, emails me like a handwritten list or like a typed list of songs. I don't know what to do with this, Scott. There's like 20. And then I go, well, I need like MP3s. And he sends me some Spotify links, essentially saying, Chad, when you have a second, find a good clip, edit it, download it, upload it. I'll be over here suntanning. So Scott, thank you. Seth, thank you as well, because you're consistent with that. It gave us a good family story tonight at dinner for me to tell everyone, guess what Cousin Seth did now.
I will say, and this is pulling back the curtain even more, that is an area I am deficient in. I don't know how to capture audio clips. I know how to put little montages of them together, but I don't know.
Well, a lot of the ones I brought today came from Bandcamp. And the reason I did that was I didn't want to run into copyright problems. And I've had that problem with Tinsel Tunes a lot, and I know what it's like. And it also just sucks to put a whole bunch of work into an episode and then Spotify takes it down. They're being helpful by proactively scanning for copyrighted content. Get banned. Nobody cares. Don't ever play a Frank Sinatra song. Oh my God, they'll come after you so fast. But,
really?
And not come after you like shake you upside down and turn your pockets inside out looking for money. They just say you can't use this. And when they tell Spotify you can't use this, your episode is toast. It just gets vaporized.
Right.
After you put in your thing, it says, no, this is allowed under fair use. No, they don't care about that. So I brought Bandcamp links. And I bring those. I do that every week for Christmas morning. And those people on Bandcamp, they want their music played. They're just independent artists. So I brought stuff that I thought was representative. And we can talk about, Seth, especially about some of the more popular ones that people might be able to go and seek out on their own for extra credit.
Yeah. Some of my favorite ones were, videos on YouTube. I knew not to send those to Chad's.
Right. And I appreciate that, because I do wish we had this conversation an hour ago, because Seth and I just did a Frank Sinatra retrospective, and I'm worried. Yeah. Seth, are you hearing that?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I've got a thought. You'll be losing millions.
I'm not getting it.
Broker than anything you've ever
Oh, geez, that's not good. Okay. Well, anyway, I'll close this
Seth's knees.
Yeah. I'm from Jersey. I'm used to that kind of stuff,
exactly.
So it's not, I didn't even flinch. So let's get into it, Seth. I think let's go with Scott's songs, but I know you have a few. Maybe there's overlap, or maybe you have thoughts on these as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Expert.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, Seth, the first one I brought today is Christmas Baby Please Come Home. Now, the band that I brought is called Punchline. Okay. I thought it was similar to, there's a Joey Ramone version of Christmas Baby Please Come Home, but I didn't know, how litigious they are. So I brought one that I thought was representative. But what I like about this one is it just kind of shows how punk can reinvigorate a song or take a tempo and completely change it, give it a fresh coat of paint. So I thought we could listen to that, and it would be a good place to start.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the order. We're going to go with Christmas Baby Please Come Home. And who does this version?
This is Punchline.
Punchline. And that's from Bandcamp. Okay.
It's from
Punchline.
Yeah.
Thank you. If you're listening, Punchline, come on the show. Let's play. Here we go. Christmas Baby Please Come Home. Coming at you. So okay.
When you have a song like that, I can almost imagine, Billy Joe, was it Armstrong from Green Day? He kind of sings out of the side of his mouth,
You hear
at like a 45-degree angle of the microphone. I just like it. It just filled me with energy. It's still a recognizable song. They didn't turn it into something weird, but it's not the Darlene Love version, obviously.
Right. And one thing I noticed, is it a prerequisite for punk songs to have that kind of English or faux English accent? Because he definitely has a little bit going on. Like you said, Billy Joe Armstrong, too, in interviews, he's clearly from Seattle. But then when he starts singing, he's like, oh, I'm just, walking down the lonely road or whatever.
For many years, I thought he was English. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then it's like he's from, Southern California I don't know.
Is that the influence of Johnny Rotten and like the Sex Pistols and those guys? That's what they're all imitating that, I guess.
Well, if you grew up covering those songs and you wanted to sound like them, maybe some of it bleeds over. I don't know.
Right. It makes sense because they all kind of do it.
One of the things that I like so much about it is the heavier beat to it. Now, my co-host on Tinsel Tunes, Dwayne, he's a drummer. He's always talking about percussion, and I learned so much from him. But if you play a couple seconds of the song again, you'll hear just listen to that driving percussion in there. It's like it's pulling the song forward, and that's what I like about it.
Let's give it another quick listen. I wish I could A-B it between the big hit that everybody knows, but here we go. Let's take another quick listen. You can almost see the snarl, the Billy Idol snarl, right?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
And it's still Christmassy.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's fun about punk guys. And Seth, if you disagree with me on anything, I want to hear it because I want your take on this stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of like how, punk guys are kind of playfully ironic. They don't seem to take themselves too seriously. And this song doesn't take itself seriously. You can take it or leave it. He doesn't care.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It is so they kind of stay true to the song. It wasn't that wacky. They didn't do a version and doing it more as clean as they can, or
There's another song we'll play later where they actually changed the lyrics. Actually, in a couple songs, we'll talk about that, and that's putting their own kind of dirty stamp on it. But that's not what we're talking about here. This is just let's have fun with a song that even your grandmother knows this song.
Right.
She probably doesn't know this version.
Right. Oh, she was hardcore punk. Hardcore. Yeah.
So,
Scott, but you play instruments. You play guitar, correct?
I play guitar. I play bass poorly.
Okay.
I play some. I can play a little piano here and there. I can find my way around. How about that?
Okay.
And
just for fun? Do you play in a band?
Oh yeah, just completely for fun. I don't even like to get up at karaoke in front of people.
Oh really? Okay. Because Seth shreds. You can see the guitars behind his head.
I mean, obviously. I mean, I can see all the people in the windows behind him. They just want his autograph. It looks like a Today Show over there.
Because I'm thinking, because I've been playing guitar as well. If we can do a song, "Anarchy in the North Pole," just a punk rock version of guys in their 40s. That's what everyone's looking for. If you think about
dad
it.
rock. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, dad rock. There is a dad jam band on YouTube. Have you seen those guys? They're fantastic.
No. Is it real?
Look it up, like dad rock jam band. It's one of the guys, an actor you would know. And they did one with Weird Al. It's fantastic. Highly recommended. Dad jam band something or other. So, okay. So the next one, or Scott, you want to introduce the next one? Because I don't know if you have a specific order.
The next one I want to play is Fairy Tale of New York by Future Idiots. Now, are you guys familiar with Fairy Tale of New York?
The Pogues version.
Yes. So the Pogues have a very famous version, but here's the thing. It's not that famous in the US. It is, I don't think I've ever heard it played, maybe once or twice. In the UK, it's like it is the #1 Christmas song in the UK. And
is it really?
Yeah, it is. It's the most popular. And for years, I hated the song. I was like, what is this? They're singing about Christmas Eve in the drunk tank, and he's fighting with his girlfriend. What is this? And just, little by little, year over year, it's grown on me. And there's a very specific tone and timbre to the Pogues version, and Christy McCall singing. This is not like that at all. This one showcases how punk can just bring this massive wall of sound and raw emotion to a song. So especially Seth, if you're familiar with the Pogues version, listen closely to this one. This is so different, and I love this song. I love this version.
Here we go. And who is this that's singing
this? This is Future Idiots.
That's a great name. Future Idiots, Fairy Tale of New York. Seth, that should have been our band name when we were kids. We had a name. I don't even want to say what it was. Here we go. Fairy Tale of New York, Future Idiots.
Same thing with the vocal affectation and the snarl to it. Seth, you could probably learn those chords in about 5 minutes.
Right.
But it makes me want to go pick up a guitar and play this. It's so fun.
Yeah. It's driving guitar riffs, and it's just
that's power chords, and it's not the ballad that Fairy Tale of New York is. It's not that, Fairy Tale of New York is kind of a bummer song, and especially the original, it's melancholy. This doesn't feel melancholy at all. This is my daughter's favorite version too.
Well, it's funny because a lot of the, bands I look at a lot of bands. I was thinking through this, ones I saw, and I'm like, oh, do they ever do Christmas songs and stuff like that? And it's, there's some of these like Frosty the Snowman, like was it Fiona Apple, I think, did a cover of it, and then Jingle. I thought there's one called Henry Rollins and William Shatner did Jingle Bells together.
I wish you had the clip, Seth. That's great.
I know where it can be found. Where was I going with that? But for the most part, a lot of these bands I was looking at, the 25 or so, it was just like sad ones, or more of I guess more somber, lonesome side of Christmas, and what could be around
and that's
that time
something
of
I've
year.
never been into with Christmas music. Now, I respect that not everybody had the happy childhood that I did. So for me, Christmas means holly and jolly and smiles and everything. And there was a documentary called Jingle Bell Rocks, and the guy who put the movie together actually passed away last year. But he talked about hearing the song. I may have mentioned this on an episode with you guys before, but he heard the song "The Little Boy That Santa Claus Forgot," and he said that was the first Christmas song that spoke to him. And he realized somebody else had the same kind of negative experience he did with Christmas, and he felt like, hey, I'm not alone in this. And that's something that's really cool about Christmas music. The other thing, Chad, that I think is really cool is just how flexible and moldable Christmas music is, because you take a song like Christmas Baby Please Come Home or Frosty the Snowman, you can play it in almost any genre that you want. Right. You want country, we got it. You want reggae, oh, we got it in spades, And it's so much fun to take something that this, between the lines, and then somebody plays it outside the lines that way. And reggae is actually my favorite genre of Christmas music. Like in a non-standard way, because it's just amazing how well these songs play in other genres. So that's one of the things that I really enjoy hearing, and this is a great example of it. Fairy Tale of New York done in a pop punk style instead of it's not quite singer-songwriter style, but in like less of a folksy kind of way.
And it's amazing how well it lends itself to different genres. You guys on Christmas morning, especially when you play like your original music, there was one week you did some reggae one, and I was like, wow, this is a legit great song, but it still had Christmas vibes, which was weird because it's tropical. It's
Have me on sometime to talk about reggae Christmas songs. I will talk your ear off. I love it.
Well, I do want to
those thoughts and feelings that of Christmas and snowfall and stuff. You're like, this is reggae. Like they're Kingston.
Well, yeah. And Dwayne on Twinsel Tunes with me. He lives in New Zealand. He's never had a white Christmas. Christmas is summer. to him.
Right.
I can't
That's so weird.
I can't wrap my mind around that.
Is there decorating?
Oh, there's decorating. Sure, there is.
And the same stuff.
We did an episode on warm weather Christmas songs because I wanted to hear his perspective on these things. You know, it's all about the pool and the barbecue. And for us, it's, you know, winter wonderland.
Well, right. It's like when you lived in Tampa for a while, Scott.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's like, it's no winter. So actually, Scott, we do want to have you on for another episode. You don't have to say yes or no right now.
Sure.
Because we have a series called My Favorite Christmas Ever. And because you have such great Christmas memories, we've done 5 of them. And it's a really nostalgic look and very visceral. Yeah. And you kind of go right back to that. So we'll talk about that off air. By the way, what are you drinking out of that lovely pumpkin mug?
So this nice pumpkin mug, I always drink peppermint tea while I record. It's really good to clear any like mucus and stuff. That I'm sure your listeners want to know that. That's some inside baseball for voice work. But yeah, it's like a cup of liquid Altoids. It's so strong.
Right. No, it's good. It's a lovely mug. Seth, I'm using, speaking of mugs, look at this, Scott. Cousin Seth sent this to me just randomly.
Now, see, now that's a cousin
acorny
right
mug, right?
Has my cousin ever sent me anything? No.
Think of how many cousins you have, Scott. They probably never sent you a mug, right? And you have a lot. We've vetted you thoroughly.
One cousin.
One, that's right. And that one can't send you a mug. Listen, cousin, I'm making a plea to him right now if you want to play this. Send Scott a mug. It's lovely. It's like a hug every morning when you take a sip from your cousin. Look at this, Seth. You're the best.
Thank you.
A corny mug. But I digress. That song reminded me a little bit, speaking of Billy Idol, a little White Wedding vibes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? Oh, it's going to be a nice day for a white Christmas.
Rock the Cradle of Love. That was my introduction to Billy Idol because, you know, MTV and, you know, being a young teenager and oh my God. So the next song, the video. The next song, are you guys familiar with Christmas in Killarney?
No.
Okay, so it's an Irish.
It's Killarney or something.
Christmas in Killarney, and it's Irish. It's done in it sounds like Celtic folk music.
Yeah.
Now it's not going to have the same impact since you're not familiar with it, but just I don't know, pretend. Okay. This is by the Rumjacks, and this was another one that just shows how flexible Christmas music can be and how you can take one and turn it into something brand new.
Okay, so we're thinking it's an Irish traditional folk song. That's all I think in my head.
Imagine that you're at an Irish pub and there's, you know, some dude up there, he's, you know, or lady, let's be real, you know, with a guitar, and they're just singing. That's what Christmas in Killarney is like. It's almost a little on the corny side. You know, I don't know anything about Irish Christmas, but sounds fun.
As you're talking about this, I'm immediately thinking a Dropkick Murphys song or something of
more traditional and more folksy, not quite as fun and energetic. I mean, Frank Sinatra, like probably the most famous version of Christmas.
We don't talk about him.
No. I'm sorry.
Frank, thank you, Seth. Okay, that's the warning sign right there. So okay, so we're going to play.
Well, Blue Eyes is fine.
Yeah,
that's right. Rumjacks Christmas in Killarney. I'm fascinated because I want to see what they did here. Again, how they can gender bend. Not gender bend, genre bend.
Well, wow. Why did I go along with that?
That's right.
The kids are clean to make a scene. The dirtiest piggies you'd ever seen. It's Christmas with the family, and all of the bricks are home. You drink your fill and stuff your gills and pocket a couple of granny's pills. It's Christmas with the family, and all of the bricks are home.
Now, I can guarantee you that Mr. Frank S. did not sing about taking granny's pills and didn't use the word pricks, you know, in his version of it. So this is one where they kind of took the song and turned it into something else, a little ironic, a little tongue-in-cheek. You said Dropkick Murphys. This actually kind of reminded me more of that now that you said it. Just fun and, you know, dirty and gritty and yuck. I liked it.
Yeah. Accordions. I mean, not many bands can have accordion players.
Yeah, there's no tin whistle here. There's nothing that makes it sound like that really old school, like 1930s Celtic music.
Yeah,
I loved it. Punk is uplifting. It really is.
I watched both of you guys. Beat. Both of you guys just immediately started nodding your heads to it. Like you can't not move when you hear that. Now, I would have preferred it. I'm a little bit of a purist. I would have preferred it with the original lyrics. But okay, whatever. Yeah, I'm splitting hairs.
Right. Yeah, they had to make it their own, I guess. Yeah. Well, I love that. Now I do want to hear the original version, but that was cool because they kept that same kind of Celtic sound to
you
it.
can absolutely recognize the
Awesome.
song. And I would encourage you, go listen to the original Christmas in Killarney. They play, if you ever watch Music Choice on the cable, they have the Christmas one. That song plays like 3 times an hour.
Oh, really?
It must be super cheap or something for them to play. So now that you're aware of it, you will start hearing it more.
Okay, I will. And I'm just going to give you another quick clip of this one because I liked it so much. And I want to see Seth bop as well.
The kids are clean to make a scene. The dirtiest package you'd ever seen. It's Christmas with the family. And all the bricks are home.
That's great. Seth is breaking things. Scott, did you see him?
Did you hear that really cool growl in his voice? He goes, as it came in. I just loved it. It was raw emotion.
No, I was watching Seth breaking things. He was going crazy over there.
Exactly.
So. Yeah. Easy, Seth. Easy.
I'm about to reveal my kills.
Yeah, exactly. Scott, you were on last year. Before we go to the next one, we went on some like bummer Christmas songs you don't play.
Oh, yeah,
and I just want to bring us back to this classic.
Please stay, don't get drunk this Christmas.
Now, funny enough, there was a punk version of Please Daddy Don't Get Drunk This Christmas, but I remember playing that with you guys, and I didn't want to be typecast as the guy who brings, sad John Denver songs every year.
Right. And as if you're sending us a message.
Yeah.
Please don't get drunk this Christmas. So
or the song where the kid dies on Santa's lap. We just don't need this. Yeah.
That was terrible. I still haven't gotten over that one.
Awful.
Yeah. So we have number 4. Your next one is Oh Holy Night.
This is Oh Holy Night. I wanted to bring this one because this is a traditional carol. Now, remember, the difference between a carol and a Christmas song is carols are typically religious in nature. Christmas songs are secular. I wanted to show how this can work even with the most traditional carol. I mean, I went to church growing up. We sang Oh Holy Night poorly in church. Like nobody would have batted an eye at this song, but had somebody played it like this in church, they would have done goofed. It wouldn't have worked.
Right. Okay. So we're expecting this very kind of serious Oh Holy Night.
Holy Night. Yeah, the stars are brightly shining. This is by Pulley.
Okay, by Pulley. Here we go. I am fascinated to see what they did with this. Here we go.
Listen to how fast the drums are in this. That's like 180 beats a minute. That is so fast. That is not somebody droning on up there about the thrill of hope, the we will rejoice. No, like I want to hear this. I want Pulley to play. You know what? You might get me to church if you have Pulley in there. Just saying.
That was very Green Day-esque, especially with that drumming going on there.
Yeah, it almost sounded like double time. It was so fast. There was so much energy. Like you're not falling asleep listening to that one. That's what I liked so much about it.
Right. Oh, what did you think, Seth?
It was good. I liked it. I another song, we started talking about it before we listened to it, and I immediately had a version of A Holy Night in my head.
The Cartman version from South Park. Yes, everybody knows that one. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great thing. I say punk rock music will it's a compressed timeline. So,
yeah, that's true.
So that I could listen to it a whole. Well, actually, I was going to say I could listen to a whole album of that. No, I can't. That's actually way too much energy. I don't know what I would do. The only, sure, if I'm running a Christmas marathon, maybe, I don't know. Like, I'm not making cookies to that music.
Right.
There's a time and a place for everything. Yes. And I'm just not sure how that works. But if you've ever had a playlist that just kind of keeps getting slower and slower and slower, it's taking the party down. I don't know, drop that track in there. Woo! Everything's right back up.
Yeah.
Christmas road trip. That's what I'm thinking.
Christmas road trip. Exactly.
Seth, next time you come visit, that's definitely you should put on there. Just get in there. Last time, Seth went from, speaking of music, Scott, he drove this summer. He went to see the Foo Fighters. He drove from Chicago to Cleveland, saw the Foo Fighters, slept for a few hours with his daughter, then drove out to me in North Carolina, hung for a few days and drove back. That's crazy. Was this on your playlist, Seth?
No.
Funny story about the Foo Fighters. My friend's husband is a DJ in New York City and knows every act has met every act you can ever imagine. I mean, their wedding photos were like, here's the guitar that Eddie Van Halen gave us. And
wow.
their son's guitar teacher is Dave Grohl.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if you ever want to feel really bad about yourself or your own life, have a friend like that on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I took my kid to Walmart today. Oh yeah, my kid was playing guitar with Dave Grohl today. Okay, cool. Yeah, we operate from different user manuals here.
I was name dropping some local aldermen and state representatives the other day to Chad.
You were.
Watch your feet, everybody. Names are dropping.
That's right. Okay. Scott, next time he name drops Eddie Vedder, you tell him you were on with the Christmas Cousins, okay?
That's
you
right.
tell him that. That's right. Woo! It's a party. So
now here's the thing. I saved the best song. Oh, disco is a fantastic Christmas music genre, by the way. We can do an episode on that. Oh my gosh. It is fantastic. But I saved the best pop punk song for last here. And this is Deck the Halls by Reliant K. Now, if you remember, take yourself way back 6 years ago, the original for the podcast Deck the Hallmark, this was their original song. They had permission from Reliant K to use this. The reason they stopped using it was because they started uploading YouTube videos, and every single time they uploaded a video, YouTube would flag it, and then they would have to go through a process and say, no, we have permission to use it. And it would take days, and it just became untenable. He couldn't do it anymore. So they had to stop using this. This is probably my favorite pop punk Christmas song. There is something about this that is just the most perfect that I can imagine. Now I've completely oversold it. So why don't we give it a listen?
And it's also probably one of the better known ones as well.
Yes.
I knew this before I heard it on Deck the Hallmark as well. I'm just, before I play it, do you know how he got permission from Reliant K? They just reached out and said, okay.
Yeah, he just asked them. That's what Brand does. And he never ceases to amaze me. Reliant K's entire Christmas album is phenomenal. That one I could listen to start to finish, put it on repeat. No problem there. Just so much fun. And my wife, who can be a little grumpy about, non-traditional Christmas songs, is like, yeah, this is good.
All punk or different genres they did in the Christmas album?
It's a little more punk-ish, but it's, you could still play it in front of your grandparents, and nobody's going to get wildly offended.
Right.
Well, I don't know your grandparents, but I'm guessing.
Right. If they don't get a little offended, it's not punk then. Someone has to get offended.
That's true. That's true. It's definitely pop punk. This is not punk. This is pop punk.
Right, okay. Although our grandparents used to take us to mosh pits when we were little, but that was just our babysitting form in our family. So it was different. They left us for hours. So here we go. Deck the Halls by Reliant K. Here we go.
Deck the halls with bars of holly. Tis the season to be jolly. Don we now our gay apparel. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol.
My name's Cousin Chad, and I love Hallmark Christmas movies.
Yeah, no kidding. What a perfect song. It is produced perfectly. And that's that kind of radio polish that hardcore punks would scoff at. I totally get that. And I'm not claiming that it is punk music by any means. That is my jam. I love that.
It's poppy, pop punk. It definitely has punk flavor with pop. Yeah, for sure. I love it.
It's got the louder guitars. They're more growly, but there was something about the percussion there, and I don't know what it's called when it's like pop, 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 and it's almost like it keeps bringing it to a stop, and then it unleashes you and lets you go forward again. It's just perfect. I can't imagine a better pop punk Christmas song. And listen to the whole album.
It sounds like you're in a place where I was about 6 or 7 months ago. And I'm standing at a Guitar Center. I'm like, wow, there's a really inexpensive set of drums. I'll give it a try. I've always wanted to.
Oh, I did that. I said, hey, Mom, our daughter your granddaughter wants to learn drums. A check shows up in the mail, and we have a whole, I don't even remember the brand, but it's a really nice electronic drum kit in the other room.
Oh, okay.
And now it's a clothes rack.
Sounds like right now in my kid's room too. Same thing. So Seth, what do you think though? Because you like more of a little bit of a grittier punk.
You like
I hear you
authentic.
bopping along.
Yeah, but I do like that, and I completely get it. I mean, it is cleaner. He said it's more produced. Because a grittier sound, it's just it's people are like, well, it sounds like it could be Deck the Halls, but it's just and I mean, most people don't like I love Rancid, the band Rancid, Tim Armstrong, Lars Fredriksson, they don't have the most, they say, soothing voices, I guess. I don't know. They're very gritty and sometimes unintelligible, but I love it. And
that's part of the authenticity about real hardcore punk sometimes, though. The production values are pretty low. You're not going because, they're phenomenal singers. You're going for the energy and the emotion of the whole thing. That's not this song. And I said you could play it for your grandparents, Chad. Actually, I'm going to change that. I thought of it while Seth was talking. You could play that at a public function and nobody's going to be like, "Oh my God, what is this? Who is playing this?" Like I was at a Mod Pizza recently, and they were playing death metal, and my wife was like, "All right, I got to say something. I don't mean to be a Karen here, but come on,
Did she say something? What did they say?
She did. She went up and said, "Hey, there's a lot of kids here, and these lyrics, are a little sus, as the kids say." And they were like, "Oh, sorry," and
they changed it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they put on Barry Manilow or something. I'm not sure what it was, but you could play these Reliant K songs, and nobody's going to say, "Oh, this is inappropriate." It's a little heavier, but it's fun. Yeah. It's fun. Right. And just listening to it again, the hair on my arm stood up. I realize I'm a Reliant K stan here, and here, let me show you my tattoo. But
well, it's true. You can't. The nice thing about that, if you're feeling like you said, if you have a soundtrack, a Christmas soundtrack that you're listening to that's kind of down, after a while, you just need to pick me up. That one will do it every single time. You really can't be in a bad mood and hear that playing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just going to give one more clip of it because we've been talking about it. Here we go, everybody.
Take the whole with bars of holly. Tis the season to be jolly. Don we now our gay apparel. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol.
These guys are tight musicians too.
They really are, and it's not quite gang vocals in the back with the fa la 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 la, but it's heading there, and I liked that quite a bit. Now, if you wanted more authentic punk Christmas music, "Oi to the World" by the Vandals. The Vandals I think it's the Vandals.
Vandals.
The Misfits have some, but
Seth brought one of those.
Not really my thing. It's a little too authentic. It's kind of like how I like inauthentic Mexican food.
Okay.
I like it Americanized. And if it's too the mole sauce is too dark for me, I'm not enjoying it. This is that cleaned up, sanitized version of punk music that I enjoy.
You like the Tex-Mex of punk rock.
The Tex-Mex, yeah. So I realized I didn't bring hardcore authentic music today. That wasn't my MO.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
It was it's having to go back. I mean, I've listened and loved these bands for many years, but I never had the focus of like, oh, do they do Christmas songs? And and I was, as you were talking, thinking these bands that you're finding on, I forgot the name of it. Bandcamp. Are they just do Christmas songs, or are they doing albums? Because not a lot.
Sometimes, a lot of times they're albums. Every once in a while, you'll find a song that's just a single, and you're not really sure what it is. Now, I wouldn't say, in general, it's not just amateur musicians. It's people who are putting out albums and trying to sell albums and doing shows and stuff. But the dark side of Bandcamp is people putting things up just for S's and giggles. Like, I'm going to make the worst Christmas song you've ever heard before,
right?
And I'm going to have like the most obscene name, and it's kind of like like teenagers kind of thing.
Right. Here's one. I found one. This is live from Bandcamp.
Winter Wonderland through the eyes of Gigi Allen.
Yeah. So I tend to find the stuff, and you have to sift through it. It is a flea market of music. I
Yeah.
sift through and I look for the stuff. And I just the other day I was in there, my wish list, because you find an album you like, you just click the heart so that you can find it again. My wish list now has 354 albums on it.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I would have never heard of pretty much any of these people. Every once in a while too, you'll get somebody who uploads commercial music, and then it's like an ad for their roofing business,
Okay.
And it's like,
Right.
yeah, here's Ella Fitzgerald for Bob's Roofing. But and I tend to go in and just click the report button on that one. Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
buzzkill. But if the whole thing got shut down because people are uploading commercial music, you've kind of ruined it for everybody. So
Right.
and
Although next time your roof is leaking,
yeah, well,
you're gonna be sad
exactly. I
about
think
that.
Ella Fitzgerald, but I don't remember if it was you, Chad, or a different Chad who emailed me and was like, "How did that Toasters and Moose song not win?" And Toasters and
No, that
Moose
was me.
is one
That
of
was
those
me.
things that you find on Bandcamp. You're like, "What? This is not the best, but it's the most fun." And
Yeah.
I get a little bored by your traditional Christmas music, your stuff that you hear all the time, especially your Mariah Careys. I'd rather listen to Toasters and Moose.
Was that Christmas Biscuit? Was that
Christmas,
the one?
Taste the Biscuit.
Yeah, that was definitely me. Seth, I emailed them about that. I was incensed that it didn't win.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was shocked, and we've actually gotten really good at Brandon and I have of knowing which song is going to win. When we hear we typically record, we'll play a few seconds of it and then and stop it just so the recording process goes faster. And I would say that 70% of the time we call the winner ahead of time.
Oh,
Now we
really?
don't ever
Yeah.
say that because we don't want to influence the vote, but in the editing process, it's all there.
You could tell. I like is Seth. What they do is they also don't say who brought the song because they see who the audience chooses.
Blind
And then
voting.
every other week there's you hear a ska horn section to the tune of Jingle Bells. You're like, gee, we all know who brought that. Scott brought this one, and he doesn't want to say.
Pop punk Christmas song. Or Seth. I'm notorious for bringing surf guitar Christmas music.
Yeah.
Nobody likes. I'm the only person who likes surf guitar Christmas music. But at this point, I'm just going to be authentic to myself and just bring what I like. The winning is for bragging rights only. So who cares?
I think we have our next show. I mean,
surf guitar Christmas music. What
Southern
a genre
California
for it.
surf, SoCal punk.
Have the Safaris on, Dick Dale. Oh yeah, that'll be a fun episode.
Adventures, Los Straitjackets, you name it. There is great stuff out there.
It really is. Yeah. Okay, I love that.
So do I have to beg for an invite to come back, or
no?
You have an open invite to come back.
Right,
and what I love is Seth. We ask him to come on, and then he does homework and actually shows up prepared. Which Seth, I'm kind of Seth. He shows up prepared, which is really helpful.
I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. There are
No
some
plans,
people that
Seth?
can do that.
I teach a course. You watch my TED talk. Okay?
please watch it, Seth. But thank you very much, Scott. This is awesome.
I'm always happy to be here.
I feel
it's
like
so much fun. Yeah,
kind of. I think come a little full circle because we had you on kind of early on in our my journey and stuff, and then we talked a few times, and it kind of fell off. Plus, after the season and stuff like that, and then we're back here. I'm like, oh, we're starting for my my sophomoric rise.
That's right.
Let's hope it's a rise.
Yeah, maybe I can come in once a year and give you the shot in the arm you need just to restart the season. Hey, it's October now, right? Or it's almost October. I'm not sure when this goes live, but hey, we're in it now. This is it. We've been waiting all year for this, and I don't know about you guys. October is my favorite Christmas month because it's just starting to show up. You're not sure if you're going to see it when you walk into Lowe's or Michael's or Home Depot or Home Depot. I don't know what's wrong with those guys. They wait until like after Thanksgiving, bunch of jerks. But Lowe's. Oh, there's a 10-foot tall abominable snowman when you walk in the door right now. This is fabulous. This is my favorite.
Scott, I was the one who wrote into your show and said we need an October 1st countdown.
Yeah,
it's
true. That's right. And
it's an ongoing segment.
We do it because of
there you go.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Seth, I pestered them too. I said, let's do October 1st. And they actually adopted it. And
why don't you also count down to October 1st? Because that's really when things start to get going. If you're just counting down to Christmas, by the time Christmas gets there, it's over. So that's why I say that Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, because then after that you have Christmas still coming. After Christmas, what do you got? Valentine's Day? Who needs that?
Thanks. Like
my wife.
Yeah. Rest of the weekend ahead of you. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is the Friday of holidays. You're right.
It is.
And also, Christmas is Sunday. Yeah.
The October 1st countdown, we're digressing a little bit, but I just had to say, I love that countdown because when you're 300 days away, but that knocks off like 90 days almost, or whatever, 80 days, it makes it helpful mentally. So
yeah, it's so much better.
It's much appreciated. But Scott, thank you so much. Everybody who's listening, check Scott out on Christmas Morning Podcast. I'm sure you probably already listened. Check him out on Tinsel Tunes. I listened to all the episodes. Scott, I love your work. I love that you come on.
You're so kind.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. And thank you. And thank you for joining, Seth. Thank you for showing up only a few minutes late tonight. So crowd loved that. That was awesome, Seth. Thank you. Is there an email or anything you need to plug? Is there anything you need to plug, an email or Instagram?
Oh, no. ChristmasMorningPodcast.com. Go there, find us. We would love to have you be part of the Christmas morning people, be part of the family. You found your tribe. That's what we like to say.
I love that. Yes. And check us out at Christmas Cousins Pod on Instagram and Facebook, and ChristmasCousinsPod@gmail.com. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Seth. Everyone, we'll see you next episode.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.